1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, 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 testing. 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, it just feels so weird to be speaking into a camera again. But anyway, thank you for checking out yet another video. This is probably gonna be a quick one. I'm on my way to shoot. I really don't want to be late, but I really wanted to sit down and just talk to you about a recent Black Friday purchase that I made. One of quite a couple of Black Friday purchases that I made that I'm quite excited about. And as you've probably seen in the title of this video, today I'll be talking about the 35mm f1.8S Nikon Z-mount lens. Say that 3 times fast. Just a little bit of background. Like when I started photography, I started with a kit lens. Well, really just a whole camera kit. It was a Nikon D5300 crop censored camera that came with some kit lenses, and my first upgrade that I did from that point was a 35mm prime lens. It was actually the 35mm f1.8G lens that was designed by Nikon for their crop sensor cameras. I then went on to buy a 50mm lens, an 85, and I got rid of that 35mm. Haven't used it for years. My go-to lens for portraits then was the 50, and in some cases it was the 85mm. Very recently, I started working with some people on weddings, so here and there I would work with somebody who had a 35mm lens, and I really liked how the photos turned out. There's something so interesting about having a portrait where the subject is still separated from the background and everything else, but it is still within like a broader context, so you can kind of place them in a certain context again. So I don't know how else to explain this. I'm sure photographers will understand. And there's just something about the slight distortion that a 35mm lens has when you get up close. I really like that. So that being said, Nikon decided, this chair must sit still. So that being said, Nikon decided to have like a global sale on a lot of their gear, and that included the 35mm f1.8S. Now there are 2 35mm lenses in Nikon Z-mount lineup, as far as I know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And that is the f1.4 and then the f1.8S. To my surprise, the f1.8S was much more expensive than the f1.4. I'll put up the prices on the screen so you can see that here. So I did a little bit of digging and came to find out that the S line is Nikon's flagship lineup for their mirrorless lenses, and that is why the f1.8S is much more expensive, almost double the price really of the f1.4. So long story short, I made 2 major purchases on this Black Friday on the Nikon global sale. That is the Nikon Z6 III. In fact, I got it right here, and so yeah, got it right here, and on it has the 35mm f. Don't focus on me. Can you focus on me? I was very excited about these purchases, and I was so keen to just test out both the camera and the lens, but maybe we'll make a separate video about the camera. For now, I just want to talk about this baby right here. And I took it for a spin. I actually set up a test shoot with somebody I've worked with before, so that I can test it in a controlled portrait shoot, basically, which is what I do most of the time, among other like events and weddings. So I wanted to test it out. I did record that video. It's still in the editing ether somewhere, waiting to be edited and released. But I've also since used it in like real jobs for events and other paying clients. So I wanted to talk about this lens and its real world use, basically. And to me, I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat, I am so impressed by this lens. This lens is super sharp. It is fast in the sense that when it comes to events, sometimes there's a lot of moving subjects and you can't be struggling with focus, whether it's the body that you're using or the lens. And I must say, pairing this lens with the Nikon Z6 III and even my Z6 II, which I'm recording on right now, is amazing. It is so fast, guys, impressively so. If I have subjects moving towards me or away from me, side to side is obviously much easier because they're more or less staying within the same focal plane. But subjects moving towards me, like I said, or away from me, still super sharp and in focus. So there's 3 scenarios in which I tested this lens. One was we went to a fun fair of sorts. It's called Playland in PE. I went there with the family and, you know, took the kids on rides. This is the only lens I took with me because I just wanted to keep things really, really light. And this lens just, yeah, it just blew me away. Obviously, rides are moving towards you, away from you, side to side. And yeah, it just outperformed my expectations. I'm very, very happy with it. And on another occasion, I took it to a major concert. It's like an orchestral concert. There, that was a little bit easier because most of the time the subjects are in place, they're sitting down. There's people on stage, very minimal movement. So that was another scenario that was, like I said, a little bit easier. And yeah, much more recently, I took it to Nelson Mandela University's summer graduation. And this is where I could really have fun with the lens because we did a variety of shooting scenarios. There were some people on stage, some people in the crowd, some graduates that moved towards me and away from me, again, side to side. They were always constantly on the move. There were some activities after the ceremony outside of the hall. So yeah, and we took some portraits, like just off the cuff, in mid-daylight, mind you, and this lens, just everything about it. The slight distortion that I mentioned earlier that I really love, the sharpness, just how it separates the subject from the background, even though it's very hard to do that the wider you go. But with this 35mm, there's just a sweet spot about it. And another thing that I really enjoyed in situations where I was indoors and I didn't have a lot of room, I didn't have to move like far away from people. You know, I could be very much so in their space, and you know, it's just easier to communicate to them what I want them to do than being on the other side of the room and trying to talk past many other people to kind of get my direction across to them. So another thing that I really enjoyed is the build quality. The build quality is tops. It is almost reminiscent of a Sigma or Tamron lens, like the metal body and with the ceiling. And I'm saying that because the only comparison I have are my other G lenses from Nikon, which is much more plasticky. Like for instance, I got this one here. This is my 85mm f1.8G, and yes, it's a metal body, but there's some plastic parts that makes it feel a little less premium. It's of course a very good lens, but I'm just talking about the build quality here. So that's what I love about the 35mm f1.8S. And yeah, I was on the fence about whether I should get that one or the f1.4 because the f1.4 just gives you that extra little bit of light, you know, in tough situations. But I am so glad that I rather went with the S line because of its sharpness and just how it performs very well, even in low light situations. I'll probably put some examples up here as I speak. But yeah, that's just my initial thoughts, some feedback after doing some real world tests or shoots with it and in different scenarios. So far, so good, that I will say. I hope you enjoyed the images I shared, but that's it from me, guys. My next video will probably be about the Z6 III, but I'm going to be late. I have to run. Thank you for checking in with me once again. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
recorded.